Hello everybody, happy Monday to you all. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us on another Peach Lockdown live video. The theme of this one is going to be pretty obvious. It's about Fender Custom Shop once again today. Hopefully you guys are going to be seeing this. We put out a couple of notifications. This was kind of a last minute deal that we wanted to do a live video today to celebrate the fact that we've got a really great another shipment come in of really nice custom shop guitars. For anybody who saw that unboxing video so far that went up earlier today, I think you'll all agree that this is one of the very best hauls, as we'll term it, that we've had in a long while. It's certainly one of my favourites. There's just been some incredible guitars that have turned up today. And so we kind of felt the need to, rather than wait till Wednesday when we would normally do a live video, we wanted to just push it out today so that you could see these as quickly as possible. And I've been doing the listing videos for them this afternoon as well, so you're going to be seeing those in due course. That is if they don't sell in the meantime. I know a couple of the guitars have already gone. A couple of them that came in already were assigned for customers, but a couple have sold even since then. So I'm sure it won't be long before the rest of them go. I'm just making sure that I can get the video up so I can read your comments. So as is always the case with our live videos, please feel free to chuck stuff into the live chat as we go. It's really great for me to kind of get your feedback as we go along, and I want to know what you think about these guitars, and if you've got any questions, now is the time to ask them, or throughout the course of the video as we go. Thank you everyone for watching so far. As you'll have heard from the way I started that, some of these guitars just sound absolutely monstrous, and the rig that I've kind of put together to show you what these guitars sound like certainly plays a big part in that. So let me just talk you very quickly through the signal chain, and then I'll talk a little bit more about this guitar that I played in on. So as is the case with the Fender Custom Shop video that we did before, I wanted to use a 2-rock amp, and it seems that people are buying them as quickly as I can get to plug them in. So the classic reverb that we had last week is now gone, so I'm sure that someone is currently enjoying that amp a lot. But I actually got to plug in, which is probably my very favourite 2-rock model today, which is the TS1. It's just such an incredible sounding amplifier, often overshadowed by the classic reverb and the Bloomfield Drive and amps like that. I just wanted to give it a little bit of attention today, and I think it's really going to help each of these guitars to stand out as well. So I'm going to talk you through kind of the signal chain, what I'm using as I'm using it. I've got a couple of gain pedals on the floor today as well. I've got the J-Rocket Dude, which I had last week as well, which is doing the high gain thing. That's what you'll have just heard when I went to the gain sound. And also I've got a JHS Charlie Brown for a little bit of a kind of light gain breakup tone as well. So once again, I'm going to tell you what I'm using when I'm using it, and I'm going to use stuff that is appropriate to each guitar and to try and get kind of my favourite sounds out of each guitar. Once again, I'm also not going to spend too long talking. I have a tendency to do that, so I'm going to try and cut down on the talking, cut down on the spec talk as well. Keep an eye on the live chat for all the information on each guitar, because the guys are going to be throwing the specs in as we go. And also John, when he unboxed the guitars this morning, did kind of spend time making sure that he expressed all of the specs in that video. So if you want to find out more about a particular guitar, obviously head to the website, or you can go back and check out the unboxing video. I'm just really here to show you how they sound and kind of talk you through my thoughts on them. So this guitar that we started with, this is an awesome Dale Wilson Masterbuilt guitar. We actually had, I think, 5 Dale Wilsons turn up on this shipment, which is, I think that might be a record so far for the single greatest number of Dale Wilsons to turn up in one go. A couple of them had pre-sol, as I said, but this one somehow made it through. So this is a 61 3-tone sunburst Strat, and contrary to some of the guitars from Dale that we've seen as of late, this guitar actually hasn't really gone through the heavy relicking process, I would say. Obviously it's still very beaten up in a nice way, in an authentic way, but he hasn't really gone overboard in kind of really getting into the grain of the wood on the body and stuff like that. I think it's quite a tasteful job, and it actually reminds me of a couple of guitars. I think we ordered a guitar for Mr. Scott McKeon, who kind of replicated one of his 50s or 60s Strats a while ago. This guitar reminds me of that. Whether it was kind of a takeoff of that guitar, I don't know, but it's just a great kind of take on a 61 Strat, and it sounds like it. So rather than talk too much about it, the guys are going to update in the live chat the specs. I'm just going to play it for you. So I'm going to go with a bit of clean, and then I'm going to show you a lighter gain sound with the Charlie Brown, because I did the high gain thing before. So yeah, a bit of clean and then kind of a mid-gain breakup tone. I'm just going to walk you through each of the pickups. So I don't feel that I need to say a whole lot about Dale's guitars really, because we've talked so much about them in the past and we feature them so highly and we revere them so highly and we order them in such high numbers as well, because you guys seem to love them, and it's always clear to me why whenever I play one. The most striking feature about his Strats, I think, is not only the clarity of like the neck and the middle position pickups, but when you go to the bridge on a clean sound or on a gain sound, sometimes on a Strat, that can absolutely take your face off, and you kind of have fear about it, and you want to roll off the tone control. I've never felt that way with one of his guitars. It's really well balanced, and I'm told in the live chat that this guitar's got a trio of Texas Special pickups, and I've never heard a Texas Special sound like that in a bridge position. It's so wide open, but it's kind of got the kind of mellow edge that you get out of a nice 60s Telecaster. I think it's just got a great sound. So I'm just going to show you one last time the high gain sound with the dude pedal on the bridge, and it just, I don't need to touch the tone at all. It's just a really nice smooth sound. There we are. So yeah, first Strat of the day for a Dale Wilson Masterbuilt. It's a great start. I'm sure that this one won't stick around long at all, because it's kind of the perfect winning formula that a lot of people are looking for out of a Strat design. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of play this one while I could, and hopefully it's going to go to one of you guys and you're really going to enjoy it as much as I'm currently enjoying it. So let's move along. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too long talking about each guitar spec-wise, but I will just kind of give a few of my thoughts as we go. And all of those thoughts are going to be pretty positive when it comes to guitars like this. This is another Dale, and this is a Dakota Red finished 61 Strat, which is not something that you see very often. We see a lot of Fiesta Reds, but I love Dakota Red. John talked about Dakota Red in the unboxing video as well, and why it's one of his kind of preferred colours. It's just a little bit different. I think it stands out, and I also think that relic jobs look a little bit nicer on a Dakota Red, because there's a bit more contrast going on. This is, again, like the kind of heavy relic format that we had on that last guitar. But, you know, I just think he's done a great job overall. Once again, John will talk you through the finer specs of this guitar. Keep an eye on the live chat as well for the link to this guitar on the website, and also the specs like the pickups that we're going to be hearing and stuff like that as well. I'm going to play it. I'm going to go through from the clean, and then I'll put on a gain pedal as we go. I'll tell you what it is after I've done it, because I don't know what I'm going to choose yet. So here we go. There we go. I went for the Charlie Brown there in the end, by the way, just for that kind of mid-gain thing. I'm told these pickups are Custom Shop 59 pickups, and it's just exactly as my colleague has commented. It's one of the most versatile pickup sets, I think, because it kind of did everything there. It's really nice, clean. It will do the sparkly in between kind of thing. If I just show you that. And then with the right pedal, you know, you could kind of convince someone that these aren't Strat single coils. I think it's just got such a meaty sound. That again is part of the process to do with the way Dale kind of just builds these guitars. I think it's just something that he does. It doesn't matter what the pickup spec is. It's still got that nice kind of rounded off, really smooth quality. You don't always find that in custom shop kind of recreations of guitars, but Dale's guitars always have that, and I love the fact that you can very comfortably go from a nice sparkly clean sound to a high gain sound, and you never have to fear about the guitar kind of suddenly becoming out of balance tonally. They just really do it really well. This guitar is also incredibly comfortable. The necks on these things are always impeccable. They're really smoothly rolled on the edges. I think all these Strats have the 60s oval C profile. There's nothing kind of too funky going on with any of the neck profiles. They just feel very appropriate for the kind of era that they're trying to recreate. I think all the Dales that we've got here are 61 spec. So really the only differences are in the relics and the pickups, the electronics and stuff like that. It's just an incredible sounding guitar, really comfortable to play. So I'm glad I could start out with 2 Dale Wilson Masterbuilt Strats, because as I said, there's no telling how long these are going to stick around for. So there we go, we've actually got it. And before someone hits buy on the website, I just wanted to kind of show them to you while I could. So there we are. The rest of this stuff is kind of a little bit of a mix. There's some of the 2020 limited edition collection of guitars, some of which I showed you before. This is one of those, I think. So this is the same as you might remember last week. There was a dirty shell pink over 3-tone Tele custom with neck humbucker. Same spec as this. This is obviously just the black over sunburst. Kind of variant, and there's been a few of these guitars in different finishes. They're really cool, kind of little bit of a mix match of different greatest hits of different Tele modifications, I think, because it's obviously a 60 custom Telecaster, but you've got a Seymour Duncan Seth Lover, I think, model neck humbucker. Can't remember what the bridge pickup is. I'm sure it'll be filled in the spec, but it's just a really nice balance, and I'll show you with the neck humbucker sound. You can just get some really, really great kind of very, very fat but still very articulate tones, and then obviously you've got everything that a Tele does really well in the bridge, and you've got the in-between sound. So let me just walk you through those clean, and then I'll add a pedal, probably the Charlie Brown for a bit of mid-gain stuff. There you go, some interesting sounds from this guitar, but I think it's got a really nice balance, as I said, being a custom Telecaster model. This is a Texas Special pickup in the bridge, and it just balances really, really well with that neck humbucker. Obviously, it's a slightly bigger sound when you go to the neck sound, but you kind of want that in a way when you've got a Tele bridge pickup. And then obviously just rolling off the tone will kind of give you a whole different realm of different tonalities as well. So this is a great model. I've played this before. If you want to find out more about what it sounds like, please refer to the listing video that will be up on the website shortly. But there's also other models available in different finishes too. So if this isn't quite your thing, check out the website because we've got a bunch of them basically. But yeah, really, really cool 60 Tele. Again, a limited edition guitar for this year. And this one is another limited edition. And I really, really like the concept of this guitar because this is, I'm guessing, a 72 Tele thin line. Again, we had one of these last week as well, just in a black finish, but this is a three-tone burst with a really cool torty guard. And John was talking about they've changed the kind of the magnets they use on these pickups or something like that, so they kind of get a little bit closer to the authentic sound of a 72 wide-range humbucker, which I've always thought is a great sounding pickup. So let me show you what it sounds like. I'll start out with some higher gain stuff with the Dude pedal, and then show you that even when Fender are doing humbuckers on their guitars, they still give you great cleans as a kind of standard. So let me show you some high gain stuff, and I'll show you some cleans too. So yeah, despite the fact that you've got humbuckers in this guitar, it still will do a lot of those Tele-isms. And I do think that's just something to do with the construction of a good Telecaster. It still always sounds like a Tele, no matter what kind of electronics you put on it. But yeah, these wide range pickups have the original magnets, I was just told. So the same exact magnets that they used on the original guitars are now back into production, which is fantastic. And that you can kind of tell that this guitar's got that open quality that you really look for from those vintage pickups that a lot of us will be kind of familiar with. But then you've got all the kind of perks of a modern playing and affording a modern instrument as well. So these guitars are just fantastic. They've got Fender are always pushing the boundaries as to kind of trying to get closer and closer to recreate those vintage sensibilities, and that's exactly what they're doing with stuff like that. I've also just been told, by the way, that all the listings for these guitars are now live on the website. So make sure that when you've had enough of my rambling, you head over to peachguitars.com. If you want to grab one of these, do it very quickly, because everyone's going to be in the same boat now. These guitars are up for grabs, so just make sure that they give me enough time to keep playing them, but please get on it if you want to buy one quickly, because they will go. Okay, so that's a couple of the Teles done. I know a couple of people have asked about the Broadcaster, which I will get to. I'll probably do that one next, in fact. But yeah, this is a very cool Strat. So this is another one of the limited edition guitars for this year. Spec-wise, I'm pretty sure this is a 61, and it's a really cool mash of Fiesta Red over a three-tone sunburst. These finish over finish guitars don't always work as we perhaps envisage them working. This one is an exception to that, though. This one absolutely nails it. I love the way this has come out. Again, it's one of those that's it's kind of a heavy relic, but it's not over the top, and it's not obnoxious. The back, I think, is really tastefully done as well. If you want to check out, there will be there's kind of some preliminary shots that we've taken of these guitars so far, just to get the listings up, but there will be the usual high-resolution images on the website to follow very shortly. So this will kind of just give you an idea of what they look like, and obviously I want to give you an idea of what they sound like. But yeah, the pictures will be up on the website soon. So let me show you some clean tones. The pickups in this guitar, I can't quite remember what John was saying they were earlier on, but I'm going to let the guys fill you in for definite. But I think they kind of have a little bit more of that mid-pushed tonality from what I remember when I was doing the listing earlier. So let me see if I'm correct on that. I'm going to start clean, and then I'll put on one of the drive pedals to give you some contexts. had to go a little bit Gary Moore there, in light of the fact that it was his birthday yesterday, so, you know, kind of, it's always worth remembering Gary Moore. But also, this guitar just kind of puts me in mind of that. These are the 63 sort of hybrid pickups in this guitar, and they had a little bit more of that kind of mid-push quality, like I said. So I put on the dude pedal for kind of maximum gain there to try and do a little bit of the Gary-ish version of Red House. You know, it's just kind of, it's got that kind of, that vibe to it. This is one of those rock strats, I think. It will still do the nice, really cool, kind of typical Stratty clean stuff, obviously aided by the 2-rock. But I think this is a rock guitar. Sports just put on an interesting comment. Are these guitars tuned to E flat or standard? And the reason I say that's interesting is because these are tuned to standard, but they do kind of have a depth to them. We've remarked on this before, particularly with the Dale Wilson Strats. For some reason, I don't know whether it's just the woods that they pick out. This actually looks like roasted maple on the neck to me. It's very, very dark. There's just something about these Strats at the moment that they've got this real deep tonality, and it sounds like they're tuned down, even though they're not. So if this was an E flat, it would sound absolutely enormous as well. But that's just kind of an interesting note. I just wanted to pick up on that comment, because that's something I've noticed, that it's just kind of a little bit of a mind trick, I think, that these guitars will give you in the fact that they sound so big. Okay, so that's it for Strats for the moment. I'm going to come back to one in a bit, but I'm going to talk about the guitar that a couple of people have asked for, which is this Broadcaster. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about the Broadcaster. This is a 70th anniversary model. This is where it all began for Fender. And there's something interesting about the way they kind of voice these Broadcasters. I don't know what it is. 52 Tele specs are really cool, and they have their thing. 51 no-casters have their thing as well. But there's something in the voicing of these Broadcasters that I think is a little bit more quintessentially Tele, and obviously that's a little bit of a contradiction, but I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to show you some clean tones, and then I'll put on the Charlie Brown for just a light gain sound, and I'll talk a little bit about why I think of what I just said afterwards. So let me show you some cleans first. So yeah, what I was getting at when I was saying about this guitar is more quintessentially Tele to me, is that it allows you to do all of those kind of Teleisms that I did talk about earlier with the custom, but it doesn't sound harsh. Like some Teles can sound a little bit too scratchy, whether that's to do with the pickups or just the way they've constructed this as the anniversary model of the Broadcaster. It's just such an awesome sounding guitar. You can really lay into it, and it just sort of sounds more together. The feel of the neck as well is really interesting. Again, check out the live chat for the exact spec on this guitar. It's not quite as baseball batty as a Nocaster. And it actually feels a little bit like a soft V. I should actually just basically check what my colleagues have put in the chat about it rather than speculating. But it's just a great sounding guitar. Interesting wiring configuration as well, because obviously this is referring to the original wiring setup you had. So you'll have seen me playing a lot with what was ordinarily the tone control. This is actually a blend in this downward position for the bridge that will blend in the neck pickup when you turn the tone off. So to get that typical Tele middle position, you actually just have to go to the bridge position and turn off your tone. When it's full up, it's just bridge by itself. When it's in the middle, it's just neck by itself. And when I'm in the neck position, I can't tell whether this is the typical Nocaster thing of having the neck pickup with a dark sounding tone capacitor, or if it's like both in series. I can't really tell. I'm just going to play that neck position one more time, and you can tell me what you think, because it's quite an unusual sound, especially with a bit of gain. It just sounds amazing. So I'm going to put the dude pedal on and play this the neck position, the mystery position. Yeah, I can't quite tell what that is. It still sounds like a neck pickup, but it doesn't get all muffled like a Nocaster typically would in that position. It also doesn't sound like the two pickups in series thing. I'm going to let that remain a mystery, but just know that it sounds great. I love that position with a bit of gain. It does sound like a PAF, you're right, MJ. Thank you for that comment. I've just been informed that this is a 1950s Broadcaster profile neck as well, so there you go. It's its own thing. It's really cool, this guitar. I think that obviously this is a very specific recreation of the classic Broadcaster model, so it's unlike anything else that we've had in for a good long while. This being the 70th anniversary of this guitar as well, I think it's just a really great nod to this recreation. So I think, you know, if you're looking for a Tele but you want something that's a little bit different and maybe a little bit more versatile, this is the one. And why did they ever make guitars in any other colours than this? Because that's just the coolest finish. Don't know why they changed anything, to be honest with you, but then here we are with 9 guitars to talk about off the back of it, so it's no bad thing really. Let's talk about one of the other Teles here then. So coming off the back of what I was just saying about why that Broadcaster was so good, this guitar is kind of Fender doing what it does best and acknowledging some of the changes that were made to their guitars over the years from different players. So a lot of people would take these early 50s Teles, and obviously the later, like the 60s Teles as well in the case of that custom that I talked about earlier, and put a PAF pickup in the neck. It's not for everyone's taste, but I happen to really like it. I think it looks really cool, and it's just a great kind of way of straddling the line between getting some Gibson tones and getting some Fender tones as well. Obviously there's the Keith Richards connection, but I actually think of this guitar a little bit more of a lead player's context, because having that neck humbucker just means you've got so much extra kind of clout when it comes to wanting to play some lead lines. You know, I think Keith's tone still mainly comes from the bridge pickup, so I don't know how much impact his neck humbucker on his guitars really had. I'm not going to delve into a Keith Richards tone special, lest I get shouted at by Joel Fisk next time I see him. But that's kind of my take on it. I just think these guitars sound great for lead lines. So let me show you some of that. I'm going to use the Charlie Brown pedal just for a little bit of gain, and you'll hear it's just a really nice balance of the Tele bridge single coil model, of which will be specified in the live chat, and the neck humbucker. I'm guessing this is another one of those Seymour Duncan Seth Lover pickups, but I stand to be corrected perhaps. So keep an eye on the live chat while I'm playing. Yeah, it's such a versatile, excuse me, unnerving, such a versatile guitar with that neck humbucker in it. I just think you can get some really amazing clean tones, but as I said about the thin line Tele, you can still get all those Teleisms. Obviously, it's got the this is a crushed Blackguard spec bridge pickup in this guitar, and it is the Seymour Duncan Seth Lover pickup in the neck. It's just a great combination. Again, that bridge pickup won't take your face off with treble, and it matches up nicely with the humbucker. So just same thing as with the custom Tele there, but if you want obviously a 50s spec with a slightly bigger neck, check out the spec up in the live chat if you're interested in finding out more. But I love these guitars, and if you want a 50 spec Tele with a bit of a difference, this is another great alternative to that broadcaster I talked about earlier. So I really love the guitars in this shipment. There's just some amazing stuff coming, and it's all different to what we've seen before. So there we are. Now, speaking of something else that's different, this is possibly my favourite guitar in stock right now. I talked about this model before in last week's live video of the Fender Custom Shop stuff. This is the limited edition 60s Tele. And there's a few different colours basically. It's a Tele thin line with a 60s spec. We've had a Fiesta Red, we've had a Lake Placid Blue, we've had Surf Green, we've had Two-Tone, we've had Sunburst and all sorts. But this one is Faded Shell Pink, which is one of the very best colours you can have on a Telecaster. And just, you can probably tell just through this microphone, they're so lively sounding, so that they've got the right balance of, they're mellowed out a little bit because they're a 60s Tele. It's not quite as aggressive and in your face as a 50s Tele. But then you've got the open airiness quality as well of being a thin line. It's just kind of the right marriage. So even acoustically, hopefully that's translating okay through the microphone, but it's just such a great sounding guitar. It's so lively, and then when you do play it through an amplifier, I'm going to play it clean first and then with a bit of gain. It's just such an inspiring thing to play. So I'm going to talk you through the 3 positions, and I'm going to play some gain sounds. I'm not going to spend too long on this guitar because I have already talked about it extensively in the other live videos, but check out how cool this guitar sounds. Awesome guitar. Awesome guitar. And if you like something in dirty shell pink, faded shell pink rather, this is probably the best guitar you'll find. I think it's the best colour of the ones that we've had in so far personally, but as I said, there are a few others available, so if you like the sound of this guitar but this colour isn't for you, check out the rest of the inventory that we've got on the website, because they all look and they all sound absolutely fantastic, and they just play so well as well. You'll have heard that I went, covered a multitude of different kind of Tele styles, and it just sounds great. Sounds really alive, sounds really kind of present, without sounding harsh like sometimes an early 50s Tele can do in the wrong context. So I just absolutely adore this guitar. For someone who asked about the 2-rock amp, I'll talk a little bit more about that when we end the video as well. But for now, I've got one more guitar to talk to you about. So I've got another Strat. And as much as I love Telecasters and could play them all day, you can't beat a good Strat for some things. And this guitar is a little bit of a mix match again in the specs. It's obviously a really cool blue over 3-tone sunburst finish. The spec that I remember sticking in my mind in this guitar, and it stuck in my mind when I was playing the listing of it, is that this guitar, I believe, has got the Ancho Poblano pickups, which is kind of a little bit of a buzzword that we throw around a lot without necessarily knowing what they are supposed to sound like, but they just always put me in mind of doing the Texas blues thing. So let me show you what that sounds like, just clean into the amp. And then I do also have another gain pedal on my board, which is the Kingtone Dualist. It's kind of always there, so I'll use the Tube Screamer side of that just for a little bit of boost. But the pickups in this sound so kind of lively that they kind of speak for themselves. So let me just show you what it sounds like clean, and then you can hear with the Dualist as well. Most important note of all at the end there. Yeah, so this is another one of those guitars that kind of sounds like it's tuned to E flat, even though it's not. In the comments, you'll notice that this guitar actually has roasted neck and body, and I think that's kind of what gives it some of that extra depth, as I was talking about earlier with the roasted maple neck. This guitar having a roasted body too kind of just adds a little bit of depth, and I do think it's down to the pickups as well. Obviously this is a lot more versatile than that, and if you want to hear some more tones out of this guitar, make sure you check out the listing video that will be up on the web listing shortly. But it just puts me in mind straight away of that Texas Blues thing. With good reason. You know, we love guitars that sound like that. The Two Rock's got a lot to do with that. I said I would talk a little bit about that amp as well. I wanted to feature that today a little bit more than we have done in the past. Obviously, we've played Two Rocks before, but the reason I'm playing the TS1 is just because it's probably my favourite model in the range. I think it's a little bit more clear and a little bit more revealing as to what a guitar truly sounds like. The Classic Reverb and the Bloomfield are all amazing amps as well, but they kind of flatter guitars a little bit more, and I think that TS1 just sounds a little bit more revealing. You really kind of get the character of each of these guitars a little bit more, and it takes the pedals in a slightly different way as well. So that's the reason I'm using that. It is a 2x12 Two-Rock cab as well. The pedals I talked about earlier that you were hearing today were the J-Rocket Dude for the higher gain thing, and the JHS Charlie Brown for the mid gain kind of tones. All the other effects, the reverbs, delays and stuff, are coming from a Line 6 HX Effects. So I just wanted to put you in the picture in case you've just joined us about everything that that I'm using in this signal chain, for anyone who wanted to know. So basically all the stuff you've heard today is now available. It's all up on the web listings. Those listings are all live. As I said, high resolution pictures will be coming shortly, but there are some preliminary images of the guitars. You'll get all the current pricing information, and you can snap these up right away if you want to do so. So I'd do that quickly because they will go. There's no denying that. But while you're on the website, make sure you check out the full inventory of Fender Custom Shop stuff we got, because the numbers are just ridiculous of guitars that we've got in our custom shop room over there right now. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more coming in, but as an example, you know, we've had 5 Dale Wilsons come in one shipment today. So things are going very well. I just want to thank everybody for continuing to support us by watching these videos, commenting on the videos and keeping us going. It's really great that you guys are still as enthusiastic about guitars as we all are, and just know that we're still here, we're still plodding on, we're still making content for you. There's still a couple of sales guys here to kind of fulfill your orders and stuff as well. So just want to thank you for all of that, and a big milestone as well. I want to thank everyone for helping us get to 25,000 subscribers on YouTube here. It's really great. We've grown a lot in the past year or so, and I really appreciate all the support that we've had. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also while you're in the process of subscribing, check out the newsletter that we put out every week. It kind of just collates everything that we do on a week-to-week basis. All the news arrivals are in there. All the video content that we've been doing is in there. So it just helps you keep in the loop, keep on top of what we're doing. And we're just going to keep doing as much content as we can for you. We're going to do more live videos this week, so stay tuned for Wednesday as well. We're going to do another one at 4 p.m. once again, possibly Thursday as well, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, I really appreciate the support. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're taking care of yourselves, as always, staying safe. There we are. It's another live video wrapped up. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday. Take care of yourselves, and as I said, get on these guitars quick, because they will go. So thank you for watching, much appreciated. I'll see you on Wednesday. Cheers.